It's hard for me.
This is not a one generational thing. In one lifetime, I can produce a monkey, but in several lifetimes, through several generations, with very minute changes over a period of 1,000,000 years, best believe there will be an appreciable change.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Let me ask
some
you a
change.
question.
But let me end with this. Let me end with this. I'm gonna tell you where the bust at. I'm gonna tell you where the bust at and put it in. I know it's a theory, but when I look at my mama, she look like my grandma. And then I looked at a picture of my grandmama and my great grandmama, my grandmother's mother, and they looked alike. And so at some point in time, I'm gonna believe that most of the line that you come on probably look, you know, because we always say you look just like your father, boy, you look just like your mama. When did that stop? When did it start? When did we stop looking like one another? See, that's gonna be hard to explain.
No, it's not, brother. That's what I'm trying to get to. It's very simple.
That's chaotic.
No,
that's chaotic.
It's a minute. If I exist within a certain environment, right? So, my ancestors thrived in Africa, right? Africa is very tropic. So now, if you step into a new environment, in order to thrive in that environment, what the parent's DNA will do is understand the pressures of the environment and create adaptations for the child to thrive on the most minute level.
So it's just happening?
So basically,
Hold on. Go ahead.
If I exist in New York, right? This is why evolution, the definition of evolution within a biological context means that it's a change through time, but over the period of generations, not one lifetime. So if I have a kid, it's not just going to be an evolution. If I have 2 kids, it's not going to be an evolution. It has to be through a multi-generational process. Why? Because the parent makes adaptations on a minute level, meaning on a very small scale, for the kid to thrive on an even more efficient level within that environment so that he can survive. So if I live in New York for multiple generations, all of my descendants live in New York, all of the parents are going to make minute changes. Over 1,000 years, that minute change, that them looking 100% like me is going to result in them looking 95% like me due to those minute changes in 1,000 years. After 4,000 years, you're going to say, oh, when did they stop looking alike?
I knocked that down, God. I'm gonna stop you there. You see what I'm saying? Because they got images of Nubians right now that with the same hair. Don't run. We talking about from temples, nigga, that's 5,000 years ago. You see, and they look exactly, I can put them, they look exactly alike. Now, this is what you come when you're coming at. Because any mutation that you're talking about, you're gonna have to say that it happened in Asia. You cannot say that it happened on the African continent.
See, brother,
you can't. You gonna say that Asia that's your incubator?
You missing my
because
point.
That's but the first thing is you got to verify that it is us that went into Asia and became whatever it is. As far as we can understand, we was always in Africa, and when we looked up, we saw them motherfuckers coming over the mountains.
So I want to ask you a question.
So they ain't got to be from us.
Are white people humans?
I cannot say the white man is the same as I
No,
know.
is he human? That's the question.
What is a human?
Is he human?
What is a human?
I mean, honestly.
It's his word.
Does he
I'm an African.
Does he correspond with
So I don't want to deal with the human shit. I'm an African. He's not an African.
Does his DNA correspond with ours?
No, it doesn't.
So how come we can reproduce with them? Because 2 separate species can't make a child.
Did you not just see how this man just showed you the splicing and shit? They've been doing that forever. They had to put laws on the book to keep the motherfuckers from not cloning humans.
My brother.
They've been doing it. Stalin was doing that. Okay. Because the bottom line is we know that this is a solar galaxy. You ain't gonna play. When this motherfucker came into being and it blew with the power of the sun. It did not come into existence with the original goddamn creation. It was something, an enigma. Just like they say it's a fucking glitch, nigga. That's what it is. It wasn't supposed to happen. Because if it wasn't supposed to happen, he wouldn't be running from the goddamn sun.
I can't subscribe to that.
Okay,
Because
then.
at the end of the day,
Okay, I put the statistics up there.
Species have to increase or decrease.
It did not happen in Africa. That's a fact. So you're gonna have to use Asia as your incubator.
My brother,
any evolution.
I'm not talking about Asia. I'm not talking about Africa. I'm talking about reality and the universe. Different skin colors correspond with different environments.
You see, that's where you run it.
No.
I just told you,
Now,
we
brothers,
dealing with the whole structure.
Hold on, brother.
Because a man can go into the cold state right now and then become lighter and then go to Las Vegas tomorrow and become darker. His bone structure has not changed. He's not eating shit. He's not fucking, you dealing with a whole, you see, with the scientific shit, niggas want to look at, it ain't just DNA, it's spirit.
My brother, if you let me
It's about, no.
My brother, if you let me build, I promise you I'll understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
You saying that if a brother exists in an environment, within one lifetime he can become lighter or darker, depending on
In the
that
summer,
environment.
it depends on season.
Yeah, it all depends.
You can become darker,
You saying it all
lighter,
depends
lighter in
You
season.
saying it all depends on the season, and I agree with you.
And if you
Within
stay
a
like in
lifetime.
Michigan where I stay, it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be a period where I'm gonna become lighter. Now when I went to Vegas, I see how the sun hit me over there. Within 2-3 days, I'll be, now if I stay in Vegas, as long as I stayed in Detroit, I lived in Detroit for 40 years. So if I stay in Vegas for 40 years, don't you think the pictures you would see in the next 40 years would be darker than the ones when I was in Michigan? But you dealing with just skin climate. I'm talking about the structure, I'm talking about the spirit. We have never documented the behavior, because sometimes you can go too deep. Because I don't have to see what's on the inside. I see not what you say, what you do. Sometimes you can run. Wait a minute, don't run. I'm gonna give it back to you. Sometimes you can go so deep not to see what's right there in front of your face. And whatever is inside of him, he's acting it out.
See, but my brother,
He's acting it out.
See, I'm not dealing with that. I'm asking you. This was.
You keep asking me.
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
The inception of this whole dialogue was the inception of later family. The inception of the
And I'm
dialogue.
around.
Yeah. The inception of the dialogue was,
Because I want to, you know.
do you believe in evolution? You said no.
I don't.
So now, I'm trying to substantiate why evolution is real.
Okay.
So
substantiate.
Now,
When does evolution start?
simple example.
When the theory of evolution, as we know it, in the any public system in the United States of America, where our people have been for 400 years, where we have been raped of our culture, so the only form of evolution, the first evolution that you got was Darwinism. So don't say you're just proving evolution because the first, wait a minute, the first person wait a minute, so you're gonna have to explain Darwin.
Darwin,
You gonna prove Darwin.
Charles Darwin did not invent Darwinism. He invented the theory of evolution. Charles Darwin, I think brothers are missing out on that. Charles Darwin did not invent Darwinism. Charles Darwin did not create the racist institution or the racist society of Darwinism.
Okay.
Charles Darwin invented the theory of evolution, and he called it natural selection.
But that's what I said.
Hold on, brother. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me build.
All right.
Meaning that you are naturally selected by your environment to exist within it. So
What
that
date
you
was
can
that?
thrive within it.
What date was
So
that?
now what I'm telling you is,
What day was that?
Just let me build, brother.
I'm just asking.
So now, just let me build, brother.
All right.
So now what I'm telling you is, he created a theory that said species are naturally selected, meaning they are selected by nature or nurtured by nature to exist within their environment so that they can thrive within it. I'll give you an example. Black people, the reason that we have melanin is because our melanocytes interact with the UVB rays to produce what is called melanin. Now that melanin is a biological shield. Now nature has consciousness, and with consciousness there's intention. We have folate in our body. Excessive exposure to sunlight, folate having excessive exposure to sunlight can result in you not being able to reproduce. It can result in a dysfunctional mental and emotional health. Right. So because we want to protect this folate, we develop melanin. So we exist in sunlight abundant environments, and because we exist in it for generations and generations and generations, we may have been light at one point in time. We make minute changes so that over a multi-generational period of time, that minute change becomes a very, very big change where you can't recognize the origin from what it became. That's what I'm saying. So if a black man existed in Africa, and he went to Northern Europe and he existed there for 1,000,000 years, or not even 1,000,000, 1,000 years, there's going to be a change. But his child won't look like it changed drastically from the father. Why? Because the father made a minute change, a barely visible change, a very subtle change. Okay. In order to recognize the subtle change, there has to be 1,000 other subtle changes in the generations, and the only way changes happen is through generations. That's how you evolve. That's how the origin ends up looking different from the byproduct.
I want to throw this at you. Okay, let me throw this at you. Number one, Neanderthal is considered a